So it's going to be a very interesting talk from Dr. Manivannan on If Disney Ran Your Hospital. Dr. Manivannan is founder and managing director, Kaveri Group of Hospitals, Chennai. He's a trained anesthesiologist and also a NABH assessor, a good friend of Kaho. Kaveri Hospital is also one of the centers for quality promotion of Kaho. His focus on implementation of lean methodologies and 5S practices has helped Kaveri Hospital win several awards in 5S and Quality Circle initiatives. Over to you, sir, and we are waiting to hear from you. What if Disney ran your hospital?
Small things which your employees did which made me happy, actually. That's very important because the topic today I'm going to discuss also is similar to that. So that's me. When the topic is if Disney ran your hospital, things they would do differently. Okay. Next slide. So basically, I read this book, say probably 12 years back, 2008 or 9. I read this book. Accidentally, I saw online and then I got it. It was there only in US. So I got it through some Flipkart or something. Amazon was not there at the time in India. And it was a very interesting book. Basically, it was written by one guy called Fred Lee, who was basically a hospital administrator in Florida. And for a change of job, he moved to, after being in hospital industry for 10 years, he moved to Disney. All of you must have been, whoever has been to Disney, I've been to Disney in Florida as well as in Paris. If you see in Disney, at Disney, every day at Disney is kind of a celebrations. It's like, it's like having Diwali every day, actually. So everyone is happy there and the employees are happy. Round the clock, whenever you go, they're happy, they're cheerful. The customers are very happy. So the whole idea is how to bring that culture to healthcare, actually. That's the idea. And see, he was there in Disney for a few years and then came back to healthcare industry and wrote this book and started giving a lot of lectures, and his life changed very differently. Next slide. So most of you must be knowing what is the difference between selling and marketing. Selling is something, selling something you have actually. Marketing is actually selling something which the patient wants actually, or the customer wants. Why this is very important is actually, in a competitive world, if you're just going to sell your product, that's not going to work. So we should know what the customer wants, or in our case, what the patient wants. If you don't sell it, ultimately we lose the competition. Okay. So when you have what people want, basically it makes selling unnecessary. So you should know what exactly your patient requirements are. If you know that, then you need not, actually your marketing department can be closed. That's what the whole concept is. Next slide. So they did a survey, and this is basically a US survey, which is mostly relevant to us also. What 10 top drivers for patient satisfaction. If you see that how well staff work together, overall cheerfulness, response to concerns and complaints, amount of attention paid to your personal and special needs. I was talking about many small things in Apollo Mysore, which they've done. Staff sensitivity to inconvenience in hospitalization, how well nurses kept you informed, staff's effort to include you in the decisions about your treatment, nurses' attitude toward your request, skills of nurses, friendliness of nurses. You just see that they haven't talked about cleanliness of the hospital, housekeeping, or food, or so many other things. They haven't spoken about this. Okay, waiting time in the registration counter, or so many other things which we think that drives patient satisfaction is not mentioned here. That's very important, actually. If you see that, many people think that I deliver great healthcare, but delivery and perceptions are different, actually. There are two different things. We think that we deliver great healthcare, but you go and ask the patient say, look, it was a horrible hospital. It was just, they were money-minded. Come on, man, we think that we have delivered great, we saved the patient. But what patient perceives, or her attendant perceives is, this is a money-minded team, okay? So we should know that how perceptions are there, because we measure deliveries. Perceptions are very difficult to measure. So that's very important. Next one. So generally what people complain about in the hospital, you take all the feedback forms actually, when all of us have got feedback form, we talk about NPS and so many things. People talk about, they complained about food or cleanliness, when AC was not working. So these are some things which commonly you see actually. People generally complain about things that can be verified objectively, actually. In fact, last week also I was reviewing the feedbacks or negative feedbacks which I received from all our hospitals, 7 hospitals. So what I found is none of them complained that the attitude of the nurse or attitude of the front office guy was not right. People were talking that, say, food was delayed, food was stale, idli was hard, the billing was delayed, the billing was more than what we expected. These were the complaints which we see, actually. And moreover, agreed patients, 100, you have 100 patients agreed, only 4 patients actually register a complaint. Tell me, many times we have gone in the airlines and so many other things. They would have given a feedback form. None of the time we fill it very correctly, stating that the air hostess was rude or something. We just take okay, and then sign it off, actually. And there is a very interesting thing about a dialysis technician. I still remember those stories. When we started at Chennai hospital, I used to visit once in a month. When patient was waiting, a dialysis patient was told my secretary that I want to meet the managing director of the hospital. So when I went after a month, he came to my office and said, look, I'm so-and-so. He was owner of a 500 crore turnover company, entrepreneur. He was having a renal failure. He was on the dialysis. He asked me, doctor, can you do a help? The dialysis technician, senior most dialysis technician is taking care of me. But can you change the dialysis technician? I said, why do you want to wait for such a long time to do? Why don't you go and tell the in charge? He said, say, look, I can't do that because if something that dialysis technician is unhappy, every time I come here, I'll be treated in a very different way. I'm very afraid of it. Imagine owner of a 500 crore turnover company is afraid of a dialysis technician who is hardly, say, 22, 23-year-old girl, actually. So people generally don't give the right feedback. So if you see the feedback forms, if you think that you act upon the feedback forms, many times you may not address the real grievance of the patients, actually. They don't tell us, but they take revenge by telling others. That's a problem with all the agreed patients, actually. Next. So way back, more than 100 years back, what Florence Nightingale said holds good even today. Apprehension, uncertainty, waiting, and fear of surprise do a patient more harm than any exertion. Always tell a patient and tell them beforehand when you're going out, when you will be back, whether it's a day or an hour or 10 minutes. That's very important, actually. What we see is, even today, it's true. Any patient who's getting admitted, uncertainty, they don't know what's going to happen, when you're going to prick him with a needle or a Venflon or put in a catheter. And sudden surprises, you say that the surgery is cancelled, you're shifting early or it's delayed. So many things, surprises are there. This is what irritates and gives tension to the patient, actually. Next one. Experience. We are talking about patient satisfaction. Are they satisfied, not satisfied? No, that days are gone. We are going to talk about experience of the patients within the hospital environment. You have to understand that days are gone when people thought that when they come to a hospital, they get treated for, say, appendicitis, appendectomy done. They say that, okay, doctor, you are a god. Actually, the days are gone. Today, patients think that with the available surgical skills, antibiotics and other things, I come to a hospital, 100% I have to be treated well and the outcome has to be 100%. They don't say that you are God just because you are treated an ailment, actually. What they are expecting is they are expecting an experience. They actually, where do this personal experience occur? They actually occur when any individual who has been engaged on a emotional, physical, intellectual, and spiritual level. Imagine what we do. We just go treat a patient as a patient and for disease, actually. Emotional aspect, physical, intellectual, spiritual level engagement has to happen. Patients judge their experience by the way they are treated as a person, not the way they are treated for their disease. That's very important, actually. Are we addressing this problem? We'll look into it. Next one. Next slide, please. Okay, these are Disney's priorities, actually. Safety is the topmost priority. As all of us talking about quality, we all know that safety is a priority in most of our hospitals. But after that, it is courtesy, it is a show, it is the efficiency. Efficiency comes last. You have to understand that. We always think that we recruit the nurses who are good at answering some questions, who are good at answering some skills. Have you ever tested the courtesy of the nurses, attitude of the nurses? Well, it's very difficult. In the interview, do you have some column where which is say that this is the attitude score or 9 out of 10 or 8 out of 10? We do all the skill testing, actually. I think that the recruitments now should happen for attitude more than the efficiency or skills, because skills can be taught. Attitude are difficult to be taught to people. Next one. Loyalty for other industries. When people are loyal to Amazon, Flipkart, or any particular, say, product or company, shops or services, you have a better price, you give an offer, you buy. Suddenly during $1 billion sale, Diwali sale, everyone buys because you give a concession discount rate. If it is convenient, if it is neighborhood shop, I go there. Otherwise, I buy it Amazon sitting at home. Why should I go to the neighborhood shop, even if it is very posh and good? If I'm a frequent visitor and giving discount, then I go there. Special discounts are given. So do you think that all these things are relevant to the healthcare industry? Not actually. The perception is you give a discount price, people come. No, that is not relevant to us. That doesn't give loyalty. Next slide. I say that don't trust patient feedback forms. They don't say actually what patient feels. When someone says that I'm satisfied, they are telling that they can't remember anything great. Okay, fine. Okay, we're satisfied. When they remember something bad, they are dissatisfied. When memorable things happen, which they don't expect, loyalty happens. So that's what very important. What I'm trying to, how do you improve the experience by giving a lot of memorable experience during the stay, which they never expected in a hospital or a treatment facility? Then that will bring loyalty, and your hospital will definitely thrive forever. Next one. So now the work to service actually to theater. When this concept has changed, imagine, say you take our cafe coffee day, Indian one actually. So progression of economic value of coffee. As a commodity, a coffee bean sells, for example, a kilogram of coffee bean sells for 200 rupees, example. You just take it to the shop, fry it and powder it and put it in a packet. The same kilogram, 200 rupees is valued as, say, 1,500 rupees actually. For a kg of coffee, you can serve, say, for example, 50 cups of coffee. Then if you serve it as a coffee, the value of this is somewhere around 5,000 rupees. The same coffee, if it is served in a cafe coffee day, 1 kg of coffee beans can fetch you somewhere around 20,000 rupees. From 200 rupees to 20,000 rupees, a commodity has become a product which became a service, and then at Starbucks or cafe coffee day, it became an experience for which customers are willing to pay. Are you giving that experience? We'll look into it. Next slide, please. Patient care and patient experience, is it relevant to staff? The most important thing is staff performance, attitude of the staff. If you go to that, competence, a competent staff will be recruited. An incompetent is normally fired, actually. If you have only competent staff, the patient evaluation will be either neutral or dissatisfied, depending upon the competence level. In a courteous staff, you have a courteous staff, then the patient is satisfied. And the staff motivation is, yes, is good actually. Okay, is a good motivated staff will be courteous and the patient experience is satisfied. Whereas for a compassionate staff, the patient satisfaction is very, very satisfied. Whereas who will give a compassionate care? Only an inspired staff will give, actually. Not just a simple motivated staff. The previous presenter was telling about motivating staff by giving some, for example, best employee of the day or something, whatever it is. Yes, that is very important, but that doesn't allow, alone is enough to inspire a staff. How do you inspire a staff so that they become compassionate and they deliver an excellent care, and so the patients are very, very satisfied? That's what is very important. So all of you go back, see that how I can inspire a staff. There is no easy solution for this. Just go back, look into it, or the staffs are inspired. You ask your nursing head. I even last week I asked my nursing heads, tell me how many of your staffs told that, sister, I want to be like you. You are my role model. How many of your junior nurses said that? Probably few of the junior doctors would have told a senior surgeon, doctor, I'm very inspired by your surgery. I want to be like you. But how many times our nursing senior nurses are inspiring our junior nurses? Just go back, do a study in your hospital and you will get your own solutions, how to inspire our staffs and how to make them very compassionate, and that ultimately will deliver excellent care. Next slide, please. So satisfaction is something like happiness. If you make it your primary goal, it escapes you. Yes, NPS score and other things we have to monitor, but if you're going to make that as the primary thing in your daily presentation, weekly presentation, probably it will elude you, actually. It will escape you. If you seek things like knowledge, focus on knowledge, goodness, service, integrity, self-mastery, it may result in deeper satisfaction of your staff. It may inspire you, and they may deliver compassionate care, which will ultimately improve the experience of the patient and make them delighted. So the most important thing is whatever we see in the feedback form may not be right. So patients may be satisfied, but that is not enough to improve loyalty. You have to delight the patient. Only if the patient has got excellent experience, he'll be delighted. If you want an excellent experience, you need a compassionate staff. Only inspired staff will deliver compassionate care. So the core thing is just go back and see how you can inspire our staffs. I think I finished it. Thank you. Next slide. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much, Manivannan sir, for that very lucid presentation.